fabulous power. The rookie strikes again. Welcome to the show.
And welcome into the AstrosFuture podcast here on the Believe Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Price, also known as AstrosFuture. You can find my work at AstrosFuture.com. Find me on X at AstrosFuture.
And I'm your co-host, Kenny Van Doren.
So today we got a little something special. Just earlier today, I put out an updated top 30 Astros prospects updated for the 2026 season with what we've seen for the first couple of months. And Kenny came up with a great idea. We're going to go ahead and build our ideal starting nine with the current prospects, factoring in current performance as well as maybe some future potential as well. But we'll kind of go performance. And we talked like very briefly before this. So I don't know who he's going to pick. We're going to go 1 through 9. So like this is who our leadoff is. If I choose a shortstop, well, the shortstop's out for the rest of the way. So it's going to be an interesting experiment here. I don't know which way we're going to go. So Kenny, do you want to start, or do you want me to start leadoff?
Oh man, I was thinking about this on my walk back, before we got on here, Jimmy, and I was like, I think 1, 2 could be pretty interchangeable, but I'll let you go with 1 on who you think should be the leadoff.
All right. So there's a couple guys in my head that I'm like, I think these guys would work well for leadoff hitters, but I think I'm going to save them for a little later. So I'll probably go with an easy one here, but I'll go ahead and say in center field, we'll have Kevin Alvarez. So not necessarily an on-base type guy, but obviously a great prospect. He's having a good season so far at 18 years old. I got a question about him earlier, like, what do you think about him so far? And clearly he's holding his own as an 18-year-old in full season baseball, which is impressive. Obviously has some pretty good speed. I think he's up to 5 homers now. He's hitting like 240 something. Completely different prospect than some other guys that we're going to talk about when it comes to walks and the strikeouts. Obviously he doesn't strike out as much, doesn't walk a ton either. So maybe not the ideal leadoff. I don't know if that was the one that you had in your head. And we'll let Kenny throw in something else if he had another idea as well, but we can roll with that. He's going to be one of our 3 outfield spots for sure. Center field, left field. I guess we can bounce back and forth on that, but I'm going with Kevin Alvarez.
Yeah, that's where my mind was, Jimmy. I was going to have him in center. I thought we could get a little playful and try Nayans at leadoff just to see, because if you had done that, then that would have thrown a wrench in it, because I don't think I would put Kevin Alvarez hitting second in a lineup. But I think that's the most ideal one. You look at the regular Fayetteville lineups when those 2 guys are in it. Xavier Nayans is in that 2 hole. And I think that's the best spot for him. I think he has the power to be there. And I would have guessed, too, that Kevin Alvarez would just be our center fielder, best defensively among the outfielders we're probably going to talk about here. But Xavier Nayans, I know you corrected me before we got on here. It's Nayans like Lions. And I'm going to just throw him over there at the third base position. I think that kind of opens up a lot of fun avenues now for shortstop, especially on the defensive side. There might be a name that pops up in that 9-hole spot if this position makes it that far. But we know the power is the best tool there. He has the arm to play third base. We could get even like weirder and put him in right field, but no, he's going to stick on that side of the infield until forever, if that's the case for him. But 888 OPS through 34 games this year at single A, has 31 hits. 9 of those are for extra bases, 6 home runs, 32 walks to 49 strikeouts. It's just been a really good start for him and something that's very promising. You haven't really seen a lot of high schoolers work out for the Astros in recent years. And Nayans is just, kind of breaking that curse.
Yeah, he's hitting 270. I think one of the things that sticks out for me is his on-base percentage, 436. You mentioned the walks, and drawing walks at a great clip. And the strikeout numbers you can look at and say they're a little high, but I think if you look since May 1st, he's at like a 27% strikeout rate, which is getting close to that easily doable in today's age, 25%. He's probably closer to 30 for the season, but great start for him. And speaking of the top 30 that I put out, he's my number 1 prospect, Xavier Nayans, and then Kevin Alvarez is right behind him. But it's hard to go wrong with those 2 guys leading off. Like you said, that they've been kind of running the woodpecker lineup 1-2. Alvarez and Cuezo gets in there a little bit in the top 3, but it's hard to predict guess a better start, I guess, for Nayans and Alvarez for what they're doing right now. As teenagers, like you said, there hasn't been a ton of success of Astros high school draftees recently. So to get those guys succeeded, we'll move to the third spot in the lineup. So I don't know how my lineup construction is. I haven't even thought about it. So in terms of, like old school was you put your fastest guy number 1, and then you put your best hitter probably number 4, or your biggest hitter or whatever. But looking at where we're kind of at, I think I'll go with Jason Schiavone at this point. Catcher, he's hitting 269, 18 homers. He's made it up to Double-A, 42 walks, so kind of the same way as Nines, where drawn a lot of walks. Strikeouts are a little bit there, but same thing. I think if you look since May 1st, I think his strikeout percentage is below 30. I think he's thrown out. Last I looked was about 28% of base stealers, including 3 of 3 one night in Corpus Christi. Just a really good start for him. Offensively, he's a good athlete. Defensively, I think there's a chance that he's going to stick at catcher. I don't think it's just a position he's going to eventually move off of, but obviously the bat is making a lot of headlines, and he's hitting the ball hard. It's not some cheap home runs in Asheville. He's hitting the ball really hard.
And that's, I think that's the best case to go here. Put your power hitter there, get him off the board as well. And I'll go through the numbers too, just so we give you credit for where you have these guys ranked right now. Nines, who's our 2-hole hitter, is first in your new ranking. Kevin Alvarez is second. And then Jason Schiavone is this is first time on the list, right? He debuted at 19. Yep. So it's first time on the list. He got up to Double-A this past week. Homered in first at bat or second at bat?
I think it might have been the second at bat. First game for sure.
First game for sure. That Tuesday, homered pretty quickly. Yeah, I think that's like the easy top 3. I would say. I mean, is there like any other guy in your mind that probably would have cracked that above?
In terms of the top 3,
power, just hitting wise,
it's hard to say when you're looking at power. I mean, obviously Schiavone's been your top power hitter this year. The Nyans with the power we know he has. There's some interesting outfielders that we could look at, but I think that's a pretty steady top 3.
This is where it kind of gets pretty interesting. First base opens up a lot of different avenues of who could take over that spot. We've seen it with, Neymar Ochoa has been playing well, and he's back on the rankings now as well, playing a little bit more first base. Is he on the injured list now, though?
He is, yeah, and I don't know what it was. I know he got hit by a pitch and then played the next day. Or no, I'm sorry, he got hit on a pickoff, played the next day or two, and then he ended up on the injured list. So I don't know what it is, but he's still active on like social media and stuff. So I'm guessing it's nothing too crazy.
So, with this one, I don't want to, take up that first base spot right now because I think there's another guy that could really fit in there. But we'll go with just, a right-handed hitter, go back-to-back righties here in the lineup. And I'm going to take Neymar Ochoa Jr. I think before the injury, he was playing very complete baseball. We've given him a lot of credit so far this year, coming back from a couple of injuries last year on top of a freak accident in a car accident during spring training and 824 OPS. The slug is a little bit, it's in a good spot. I would say 450. I think the on-base percentage might be a little bit lower than you need, but these are some of his best numbers he's had offensively in his entire career. He's still 20 years old in Fayetteville in Single-A, and it's a good look for him, just offensively, what he's been able to do. Yes, this is his third year in Fayetteville, but last year he only played 29 total games. He's up to 31 right now. Just need to get him back on the field and keep him healthy, and I think you're looking at a guy that should be in Asheville at some point this year.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I've been thinking about this. When you look at Hueso and Ochoa, they were drafted back-to-back in the 2023 draft. Ochoa makes his debut early, 2024 full season, leads the team in homers, has a pretty decent performance, and is kind of really rated high. And then last year, he has the issues with the freak accident, doesn't really get back to form. Hueso has a kind of a breakout into the year, and now they're both back in Fayetteville, but it feels like Hueso might have a little bit more of that helium, even though 2 years ago, Ochoa was in full season and Hueso was still in rookie ball. It's not a knock on either one. I mean, they're both playing good baseball. Hueso too. He's just he's an extra base machine at this point. It's like every hit he gets is either a double, a triple, or homer. But yeah, no, Ochoa's been great, and it's really cool to see him kind of get back to that because I mean, he's like you said, he's still just 20 years old. Hitting for average. And then I thought the interesting thing was, he's a big guy. He's playing nothing but pretty much first base this year. He's got 17 stolen bases, which kind of came out of nowhere. Like, we know he was a solid athlete. I didn't expect him to be stealing bases like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you look at the size too, and you're thinking, that's a first baseman. He's played most of these games this year at first base. I'm just going to stick him in right field. I think that just kind of keeps that first base spot open for you to maneuver anything, Jimmy, if you want to get someone in there. But he is 29th back on the rankings for you.
All right, so if we're going with performance, and I think that's going to be our big theme. We got some guys that we know are good prospects. Maybe the performance hasn't been there yet. Joseph Sullivan, I think he's having a better month. He's been kind of picking up the homers. I think he's up to 9 now, 12 stolen bases. Ethan Fry got off to a little bit of a slow start, turned it around a little bit. If I'm going number 5 here, and it's probably not your like prototypical number 5 hitter, and I'm looking at my list of guys that I've kind of looked at, and I don't I don't really know where to go. So I'm going to kind of go off the wall here and go Justin Thomas in left field if we're putting Ochoa in right and Alvarez in center. Justin Thomas, 11th round pick last year. They paid him a little bit more than slot to get him away from Arkansas. And he's off to a good start, hitting 283. He's got 9 doubles, 5 homers, 14 stolen bases, kind of doing it all. Kind of like Nyans, kind of like Schiavone. He's got a little bit of strikeout issues, but he's got a 446 on base percentage, 29 walks in 36 games. We talked about it before where the Astros put a pretty big emphasis on swing decisions and guys being patient. And like we're seeing it at crazy numbers in the minors, even with a Will Bush and some of those guys. But yeah, Thomas is off to a great start. I kind of went back and forth on, where he would end up ranked if he was going to get ranked. If I remember right, I think he would have been in like that 31 to 35 spot. There's a few other guys that I wanted to get on there. And it gets really hard when you get down to like number 30 because there's a few that, maybe I do a 32 and they're on there. But Thomas is off to a great start. I'm really interested to see what happens when he gets up to AA just based on the numbers. But yeah, so number 5, I'll go Justin Thomas in left field. So just to kind of recap where we're at, we got Kevin Alvarez in center at hitting leadoff. Number 2, Xavier Nyans at third. Number 3, Jason Schiavone at catcher. Number 4, Neymar Ochoa right field. And number 5, Justin Thomas left field.
Yeah, that's a good one. I was wondering how far it would kind of slip. And I think that 5 spot is a good spot. It just feels like a spot where Justin Thomas could hit behind some of those other guys. I guess we can get a lefty back in this lineup, especially just more in the middle here. And I'll end up, taking the first base spot here, and I'll put Anthony Hueso there. He's had a good stroke, like you mentioned. And it's funny, like looking at his baseball reference page, Jimmy, because it's kind of like a scattered numbers of, like you mentioned, where it's like, 3 doubles and, 2 homers, and like, the triple number is a lot higher than anyone, expects. I know his OPS is still, dipped a little bit below 800, and I think it's at 774, but on the year through 37 games, he has 8 doubles, 3 triples, 6 homers. The K rate's pretty high. He has 59 strikeouts this year. You want to see those walks go up a little bit, but he added 16 stolen bases so far in those contests as well. And last year he stole 18 in 67 games. So you're seeing a little bit more of an aggressiveness on the base paths. I know at the Astros, the major league level, it has not been a good, run on the bases, no pun intended, but in the minor leagues, it seems like there's some guys that have built a lot of confidence. Of course, it is single A. It's not the best, guys holding them on or catchers throwing the ball down to second or third, but it has been a good run for him, just showing that tool as well.
Yeah, I'm looking 31 hits and 17 of them are for extra bases, 16 stolen bases like he shed. Yeah, he's doing damage when he makes contact. I think he leads the team now in homers. He's tied with Nyans, leads the team in RBIs, 16 stolen bases, good number. So yeah, really good start for Hueso. So that number 6 on the lineup, Anthony Hueso at first base. So now we got 3 positions left. DH is open, second base, and shortstop. Is that right, Kenny?
Yeah.
All right. So this is where, once again, I think things continue to get interesting as we go down, and there's a lot of different avenues we can go here with the DH or with some of the infield guys. So I kind of wanted to save him for a number 9 spot. Let's see. I went number 1, so I'll get number 9 if he's around. I'll wait for that one. Well, we went lefty. I'll go righty here. Screw it. I'll go Max Holley at shortstop. I kind of wanted to save him for number 9 because he feels like a nice number 9 hitter where he's hit for a little bit of average, draws a lot of walks, but really having a good season. Hitting 276. He's made it up to AA. So speaking of on-base percentage, it's over 423 stolen bases. And we've talked about it. The thing that really stands out with him is his defense. He's graded 70 defensively, 70 run. I mean, he's gets on the bases. He's going to do some damage, and he's phenomenal defensively. I'll have a story out about him when I talked to him at Corpus Christi this past weekend. I thought it was interesting. 1 year in junior college, he made 28 errors at shortstop. And because I had asked him, did defense come naturally for you? And he said, no. He said, actually, in junior college, he made 28 errors. He said it was a rough field, but it was 28 errors. And that really made him take a step back and man, I got to get better defensively. And he really worked at it. Obviously went over to Miami, Ohio, undrafted, came to the Astros system and has continued to fly up the ranks. Now he's in AA, phenomenal defensively. I'm watching the Astros today. We saw what Nick Allen did yesterday, not much with the bat, but great defensively, second base, shortstop. And I was kind of thinking to myself, maybe Max Holley, carves out a role like that where he's going to be a really good defensive infielder and hits enough to stick on a major league roster.
Yeah, that was one I was kind of wondering if you'd slip down a little bit, but defensively wise, I mean UDFA and what they've kind of found that value in him as a glove first guy. I mean that could carry him pretty far, and I think Nick Allen is a good comparison to that. It's like if you can play above average defense, if your outs above average or way above the average, then you're gonna find a role in some capacity, even if it's on the bench. And being able to do that with a UDFA guy that wasn't even drafted, that's pretty cool as well in that right. This next one, I think I'm going to use the DH spot here. Second base is a little bit of a toughie for me. You could put someone out of position. I think would probably be the best case too. One of those other shortstops that's in the system. But I'm going to give this DH spot to Ethan Wagner. He's off to a pretty decent start so far in the complex league. Yes, they're only played like 12 games, I think. But overall, his OPS is at 893 in those contests, and slug is a 471, but the on-base percentage is a good number as well. He's at a 422 clip through those 12 games. Of course, 17th rounder for the Astros back in 2024 out of high school. He's the P27 Academy guys, so he's been around some pretty good talents at the high school ranks in most of his life. But he has 9 walks to 7 strikeouts so far. And it's just been a good start for him. Guy you want to see up in Fayetteville sooner than later. But he has 8 total hits, and you talk about a lot of extra base hits in those totals. He has 3 doubles, 1 triple, and 1 homer, 11 runs scored, 8 RBIs through that stretch. And I think if a lot of guys keep moving up, these next couple months, if the draft pushes guys up, injuries push guys up, we could see him in Single A sometime this summer.
I was thinking maybe he's taking the Hueso approach where he kind of played the full FCL season, finishes in Fayetteville, and we'll see. But yeah, no, great start for him. His numbers weren't terrible last year in rookie ball, but they repeated him here this year. And it's great to see him having more walks and strikeouts. And I think last year he struck out maybe 37 times in 40 games. So it's nice to see the strikeouts go down a little bit and also have the walks there. So that leaves us with our last one, second base. And like you mentioned, there's a few other ways. I looked at like a Nick Monaster who kind of played all over the infield, had some good numbers landing on the injured list. But the name that I'm going to go with here, and he's not ranked, but he's having a good season, and he's always been like a fun guy to watch. We've seen him in the system for a while, and he's having his best year as a pro. Yamal Encarnacion. He's hitting 280, 10 doubles, 25 RBIs, 19 stolen bases in 41 games for the Hooks. He's played primarily second base, but a little bit of all outfield positions on top of second. Had a walk-off hit just the other night. And man, he just seems like he does a lot of things well. We've talked about guys that maybe do a whole bunch of stuff well, but nothing great, no standout tool. And that kind of what it feels like with him. A little bit of pop, switch hitter. Like I said, hitting 280. He's got good speed on the bases, driving in runs, the 10 doubles, 3 homers, and just seems like you're talking about an old school lineup, like putting a speedy second baseman as your number 9 hitter, in the American League, obviously, if it was old school and you only had DH in the American League. But he seems like he fits that bill and super excited. I mean, I think he just continued to fly under the radar. 22 years old. Like it feels like he's been in the system a while. We've seen him, I think, play in Corpus Christi before, maybe play in Sugarland where he's just kind of been a fill-in. And this year he's kind of gotten his full chance in Corpus Christi and he's taking advantage of it.
Yeah, you go back to that 2023 as well. So 2023 and 2022, he was mainly in the Florida Complex League in 2023, and he was one of those fill-in guys, like you mentioned. And what was he, probably 19 years old then? During that season, and only played 28 total games, 9 of those in Fayetteville, 7 in Corpus Christi. Played another 15 in Corpus Christi in 2024. Really got a shot of just being at an affiliate with 33 games in Asheville last year. And now he's played the most games, or he's getting close to it, at one spot in his career. So it's a good run for him to just be able to stay in one spot. And we've seen the Astros do this before. Anthony Hueso was a fill-in guy. What happens when he finally gets his opportunity? He's healthy. He can play every day. And you see a lot of these good numbers. He's not going to give you all the pop in the world. Encarnacion's not, but he's got a lot of good tools there. And he's not, a natural guy that's going to be ranked. This is just kind of one of those cases. You can't always just look into the production of it, but he does have, some streaky pop that plays in there as well. And we've said it 1,000 times. It's make or break in the Texas League. And if he can get out of there as a 22-year-old still hitting well, I mean, he might find a role as a utility guy somewhere. He's a switch hitter, plays a bunch of positions. He's got a lot of gloves in his bag.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not saying he's like Marwin Gonzalez, but just kind of pops in your head when you think of switch hitter, utility guy that is still young for his level and performing well. So we'll go ahead and recap our lineup. So we got number 1, Kevin Alvarez in center. Number 2, Xavier Nyans at third base. Number 3, Jason Giovoni at catcher. Number 4, Neomar Ochoa in right field. Number 5, Anthony Hueso at first base. Number 6.
Flip it.
Oh,
number Anthony. Yeah, Justin Thomas.
Okay, Justin Thomas, number 5,
Yeah.
sorry, in left field. Number 6, Anthony Hueso at first base. Number 7, Max Holley at shortstop. Number 8, Ethan Wagner at DH. And then number 9, Yamil Encarnacion at second base. Is there anyone that you feel like they've had a good performance and we've left off? I know I wrote down a couple names. I know people are probably looking at, a Joseph Sullivan, a Ethan Fry, a Lucas Spence. And if we're going strictly off just performance, and not that their performance has been terrible, but some of these other guys have performed well. I want to throw one in there before I let you answer, even though I'm the one that answered or asked the question. But Caden Powell, and that's a guy that, he was drafted and he hit, I still think it's insane. I don't care what level you're playing at, but to hit 502 with like 32 homers in 50 games is just insane. But drafted out at junior college, signs an overslot deal. Has a really good start to last year. I think OPS was around 800 in Fayetteville, 21 years old. I think he had 15 doubles, 10 homers, something like that. And then he ends up getting hurt and he breaks his, is it Hammett or how do you say it?
It's
Hammett bone, right? Breaks his Hammett bone. And we know for forever that kind of zaps your power. And that's kind of what it's done. He's got, I think, 4 extra base hits all season. But I think the interesting thing for me is his strikeouts are down. He's hitting 380 in May. 3 of those extra base hits are in May. So I think he's kind of trending in the right direction. But yeah, to see him hitting 380, 22 years old at that higher level competition, if the power starts to come back, I think we could really see him take off. But good start for him to the season. Hopefully the power starts to come back a little bit. But is there anyone else that you think we kind of left off the position player side?
Yeah, there were 3 other guys that I had just on my list as possibilities if we wanted to fill the first base spot or DH, even like catcher near the bottom. And the first guy was Will Bush. I think that WRC plus is like around 115 right now, or a little bit higher. So, I mean, he's put up some good numbers so far just offensively. And, he's doing this in a full season at Corpus Christi. He pulled it up real quick. So he's 9th in the Astros org with a 115 WRC plus. 2 other guys that came to mind. One of them is Chase Call, a little bit on the older side, 24-year-old right now, from the West Coast. And his OPS, I mean, his slugging is 509 so far in Asheville. And then one other guy that I thought could be like a good utility if we needed a second baseman or someone to fill in on that infield was Trevor Austin, another UDFA, 111 WRC plus so far in Corpus Christi.
One other name I'll throw on there before we get to the pitcher, and I just happened to pull it up and I thought it was interesting, and I've texted you about it probably at least like a half a dozen times already. But Jace Mitchell's playing in the Florida Complex League, and he's played in 12 games. He's got 19 walks, so he's 3 for 24, so not the hottest of starts. He's hitting 125, but he's got a 533 on base percentage, 19 walks, and I know the pitching there is not like to the level of, even single A or high double A, whatever. But to have the patience to draw 19 walks in 12 games is impressive. So I want to give that quick shout out there. Now, Kenny, I'm going to let you decide on the pitcher. Now, we're going with one pitcher. We'll give some alternates after we choose our one. I think it's an easy choice for us, but we'll choose our one. This is our starter, and then we'll give a couple of the alternates. But, Kenny, I'll let you go ahead and choose the starter.
Yeah, so I thought this could be fun too. I know we talked about it before of doing like 2 relievers, just 2 additional guys. We could just choose a lefty as well, but that's a little bit tougher. There aren't as many lefties right now in the Astros system, but it's hard not to go with Cole Hertzler right now. He was even the pitcher that Bryce Mayer told us to keep an eye on, and he's already eclipsed his most innings ever. Not even just in a single season, but just in the pros. Coming into this year due to some injuries, especially last season. He only had 21 innings under his belt in the minor leagues. Through 8 starts this year, it's 33 1/3 innings, 270 RA, nice whip at 1.14, and the batting average against is really low. It's at 174. He has 49 Ks to 18 walks. I mean, he's just putting it together. He's bounced back from rough outings, and he's going to be a guy bound for Corpus Christi at some point.
Yeah, I kind of thought it might have happened already. Last start, 6 innings, allowed 1 run, struck out 9, leads the system in strikeouts. Just a really good year for him. And I think I had him ranked maybe number 29 going into the season, based off what we know about him and what he could do. And with this update, I got him at number 9. The only pitchers I have ahead of him are Ethan Pecco and Bryce Mayer. And some people could argue that maybe he could even be above them. But yeah, just a phenomenal start for him. If I'm looking at some other starters that I wrote down a few that I thought could be interesting. Maybe we're doing a piggyback or something, but Bryce Mayer's off to a good start as well. 3.70 ERA, 37 strikeouts, 24 innings. Javier Perez, 3.19 ERA, 48 strikeouts and 42 innings. And then Jagger Beck, 3.28 ERA, 33 Ks in 24 innings. 19 years old, undrafted, which is like that. I remember when they signed him, we're like, holy crap, they just signed a undrafted guy out of high school at 17, 6'6", and a lot of projection left in his frame. Obviously, already up to 96, and his breaking ball has been nasty. I don't know if you saw the clip. He struck out 7 the other night, I think, in 4 scoreless innings, and man, like the guys they couldn't hit his breaking ball. And it was really good. And then, like I said, run the fastball up to 96. So really good start to the season for him. Like I said, choosing one starter is tough. If we were doing all-star style and we were going to give 1 or 2 innings, maybe those guys get in there. But I just wanted to give a shout out to a couple of those performing well.
Yeah, and Javier Perez, of course, that name popping up, and it was one of those like interesting outings recently for him at Single A. It was 8 innings, 6 strikeouts, and I think his pitch count was under 70, 67
pitches. Incredible.
Yeah. He was on pace to pitch a Maddox, like just blow that out of the water. I don't think he got enough love for it, especially just nationally, just those who cover the minor leagues. But he's been a nice revelation in Single A right now.
Yeah, and there's a few other pitchers that I think if we were looking at relievers that would probably start to creep up on that list of guys we may try to add if we're going to choose 2 relievers. So if we wanted to choose 2 relievers, we'll go ahead and do it. I don't want to cheat and choose someone who's only started this year as a reliever. We just named a few, but I'll go Kellen Oaks, 9th round pick last year in May. I'm looking at the numbers right now. He's been great in May. He's pitched in 3 games, all out of the pen, 13 innings. He's allowed 6 hits, and he struck out 18. So he's really starting to find his stride. And I feel like him and Nick Potter are pitching like they're pitching the same game. Like Nick Potter starts, goes 4 innings. Kellen Oaks comes in and goes 4 innings. And they've both been pitching really well in May. But if we're going strictly relief, Kellen Oaks is off to a great start.
Yeah. And I guess just building off that as well, just going into my guy, there's a couple ways that I was kind of looking at this. Went to Nick Swanson's numbers, of course, someone that we've talked about who's moved over to the bullpen. And I mean, at 3.62 ERA through 11 games, he actually has a start in there, but he only has 27 in a third innings so far this year. But it's hard not to go with Elimber Santa, and I think it's probably the best just to talk about him, given he was just recently called up to the big leagues. I don't think he's made his debut yet, has he? Or did he pitch in the Cubs series? No.
Unless
he's pitching right now.
At 8:15, I don't think he's came in yet. But yeah, he hadn't debuted yet. I know he went on a Starbucks run though. I saw the I saw the Astros post that.
Yeah, they do that with all the rookies every year, the first-year guys. And he finally got pushed to the bullpen last year, the starter full-time to the bullpen. He made 19 appearances in 2024 across 3 levels, and only 2 of those were starts. He had a rough go of it in 2024 in Corpus Christi. Comes into 2025 in Corpus Christi through 31 games as a reliever, 57 innings, 1.26 ERA. Up and down, first 15 games contest in Sugarland. He gets back to AAA again this year, appears in 19 innings, strikes out 24, his walks are under 10, batting average against is 159, whip is 0.89. There's not many blips on this on his resume, and he just puts it together, gets an opportunity in the big leagues, and still hasn't made his debut. I just checked. Ime is still in the game as of 8:14 p.m.
Yeah, no, I'm super pumped to see because he came on the radar. I felt like it was like 5 years ago, maybe in spring training as a teenager, throwing high 90s, and he just kind of some injuries kind of kept him out. And then, they finally made him that move to the pen, like you mentioned, and he was great in AA, made it up to AAA, really struggled. And this year's been great for him. But if I just happen to look for the month of May, and if we're going strictly relief prospects that have pitched in the minors this year, can I go Josh Hader? 7 games, he struck 7 innings, he struck out 11. I think he's still got a few more to go in the month of May. So he's got the 3rd most appearances in the Astros system. But really, one other guy I'll give a shout out to because I think it's been pretty nice. He had a really good game. I believe it was Sunday. But Alex Santos, 2nd round pick back in 2020, kind of worked his way through the system. He's in AA, I think his 3rd year here. And it looks like the Astros have finally made him like a full-time reliever. But in May, he struck out 17 in 10 2/3 innings. He's allowed 3 runs. Does have 8 walks there, but I think his last outing he struck out, I think it was 4 over 2 scoreless or something like that. So kind of seeing probably the best performance we've seen from him since maybe his first year in full season baseball in 2021.
Yeah, just altogether, I mean, it's just kind of funny you pointed out the Josh Hader thing as well, because I was looking at Double A. I was trying to find some lefties, and I was trying to see how Dombrowski was doing, and ERA is below 5, but I mean, of course, the strikeout numbers aren't too high, and it's hard to find one. But I was like, oh, it's Josh Hader guy.
Yeah.
That might be our lefty in our bullpen. But yeah, it's just all around. It is hard to really identify top relievers. A guy like Alex Santos is we kind of get caught with it every couple years, and it's like, oh, I think he's got it. You think he's got it back. You think he's going to put it back together. He had a good fall league 2 years ago, and you start to see like, okay, maybe things are trickling back in the right spot. He's not really battling injuries. But then someone like Alimber Santa kind of reaped the benefits of those injuries and gets pushed to the bullpen and just becomes this dominant reliever at the AAA level. And you can even point out some of them were fluke injuries. Like, I don't know if you remember them. There was like one where he like sprained his ankle. Like, I think he like bumped into the catcher when he was trying to go field a ball, and it's just little things like that just didn't go his way, and it was uncontrollable things at the same time, and really just all led him to this. And I don't think there's anyone that you can really pinpoint right now. Can we say like what if they move James Hicks to the bullpen? I don't think that would ever really make that much sense, but I think we'll start to see a little bit more of these guys that once they get to Double A and they start to flatline, they will get opportunities to just be a reliever pitching 1 to 2, 3 innings.
Yeah, I have noticed, the Astros for years have done the piggyback system, and they're still doing it a little bit, but some of the starters are only starting. I think Cole Hertzler has only pitched in a starting role. Nick Potter has only pitched in a starting role, hasn't pitched in relief. And then some of the other guys are only pitching in relief role. So I thought it's kind of interesting. I don't know if they're making a little bit of a change in philosophy with some of these guys, but Kenny, we started the show talking about the updated top 30. I wanted to just highlight a few maybe that have moved up that we haven't talked about. So, and maybe a few that moved down a little bit too. We'll like Walker Yannick, for instance. I'll throw his name out there. Obviously, got off to a little bit of a slow start. Ended up having the injury. He's rehabbing right now in Florida Complex League, and I think he's played in 2 or 3 games. Hit a homer, so he probably will be up to Corpus Christi pretty soon. I texted you about it. I had the opportunity to talk with a scout, and what I heard was that like the minute he was drafted, he was ready to be a big league catcher defensively. So the push was kind of, hey, don't give up on him. Don't give up on Yannick. Like, he's phenomenal defensively. And it says, look around the landscape of Major League Baseball and look at the backup catcher. And there's most of the backup catchers can do one thing well, and that's defense. They're not there for their hitting. They're there because they're a good defender. We've seen it with, Maldonado, Christian Vasquez, all these other guys that we've kind of rotated through. And Yannick is right there with them defensively. But he went down a little bit. If we're looking at some others that went up, I mentioned Cole Hertzler. Let's see, going through my list, Caden Powell, James Hick making a little bit of a bump. Ryan Furcucci going down a little bit. He's on the development list. I read somewhere, I don't remember where I read, but that his fastball, like the velocity and the life was there. He just can't command it right now. Hopefully that's something that is mechanic and they can get it fixed and he can get his command back a little bit, because it sounds like the actual raw stuff is there. If you want to butt in at any point, just tell me to stop talking. But Schiavone was another one that made a bump up. Pentecost was another one you were high on, had a great start to the season, had the forearm injury. I think I read maybe it was Baseball America, but somewhere that he was ramping back up. So it was a forearm injury, but I think he's making his way back. So I don't think he's going to be out too much longer, which is good. It wasn't something that, at least at this point, was going to be a season ender. But those are just a few that have kind of made a nice little jump. A couple others I think that were deep in the 20s, Jagger Beck, Nick Potter, Max Holy, obviously we talked about him. So yeah, a lot of movement on the top 30, some guys moving up, and then some good performances at the top.
In going to, looking at some of these pitchers, Jimmy, and we always talk about, you draft based on need, but I do think the Astros might be in a case where they're trying to get, some high-end pitchers in this next draft, and they can still find guys. They found guys. So the draft is 2 days. I will sometimes probably say day 3 on accident, but late day 2, they'll be able to do that in the 15th, 16th round. They can find SEC pitchers. They can find high major pitchers wherever they want. In that 5th or 6th round, they've done that before as well. You can throw in the Cole Hertzlers, you can throw in the Ethan Peckos, AJ Blueballs. I mean, they know where to find guys. But in the top of the options in the Astros system right now, Miguel Uola, it hasn't really been working out well for him. It's not even just the command of the walks. The batting average against has climbed a little bit. He only has 47 strikeouts through 35 and 2/3 innings right now. He has 9 starts. We know he bounced back from a small blip with the injury bug, even though it didn't keep him out for many games. But just all around, I mean, it would be nice to just get some more like high end pitchers in the system, especially when some of these other ones, your second rounder and Alonzo Treadwell hasn't, made it back to an affiliate yet this year, but coming back from an injury, and it was undisclosed. And like you mentioned, Ryan Fercucci on the development list at single A. It would just be nice to, kind of see that replenish at the top, especially when guys like Ethan Peck and Bryce Mayer might be knocking at the door.
Yeah, we'll definitely do a draft show when it gets closer to, and I think the Astros have a few different ways. I love the position players. I like going for maybe some of the high school draftees early, but there's a ton of like what you would call maybe low floor, high floor college bats that they could look at. But having that extra second round pick or first round pick, having that extra fourth round pick, yeah, I think the Astros are probably going to look to go pitching. I counted it last year, and it felt like they went kind of position player heavy last year. And you bring up the pitching, so yeah, I in those top probably 4 rounds where they have 6 picks, I mean, I could see easily, maybe half of them being pitchers and just trying to get a little bit more upside in the arms. But as it gets closer to July, we'll definitely have some good draft stuff because it's a crucial draft for the Astros system.
Most certainly. I don't think I was paying attention much to the draft. I think I was last time the Astros had 2 first rounders. It was mainly because, everyone knew that Alex Bregman was probably going to be that second pick. It was going to be him. Or it was Dansby. Dansby was 1, right, that year. So it's like, we're going to get Dansby Swanson or Alex Bregman. This will be fun. I think it'll be fun. The picks aren't as high as those 2 were, but with Bregman and Tucker, but this will be a fun one to follow, especially on the first day.
Yeah, and they'll be able to get creative with the bonus too. Do they go over slot at 17, or do they save money there and go over slot at 28, or save money there and maybe deeper, maybe the 11th round they grab some high schoolers. So yeah, this will be the first draft that we've kind of seen Dana Brown actually be able to operate with extra picks and extra draft bonus pool money. He's kind of been behind the whole time. Some of it not his fault, and then some of it his fault with some of the signings and losing those second round picks. But anyways, Kenny, we'll finish up on our roster there. So I think what is a pretty good starting 9. It'd be cool to see if the Astros ran that out in like the spring breakout next year, with Cole Hertzler pitching and then maybe Josh Hader in the bullpen. But yeah, if they ran that lineup out there. But yeah, solid start to the season for some of these guys, and it's really cool to see the ones that have kind of came out of nowhere and the undrafted guys like Max Holley. And you end up finding out. I didn't realize how good he was defensively, and you start reading on him, talking to him, watching some games, and it's cool to have those defensive guys in there, and Yamal Encarnacion breaking out. Just really cool to see. And so if y'all like this show, obviously give us our review, 5 stars, write a review, but definitely give a shout out to Kenny. This was his idea. I think it was a great idea. He's more of the ideas behind it, just so y'all know. I just text him like, hey, what do you want to talk about today? And then Kenny comes up with the ideas.
Yeah, Jimmy just does all the writing. He puts everything together. He puts the script together for me too. I don't know anything anymore. He just tells me what to say.
Yeah, it's a good team effort. It's a good team effort. Yeah. Well, Kenny, if you got anything else on the roster, go ahead. If not, I think we're good.
I did not realize this. Ime is out of the game. Okert came in, and I might spoil this. People will know by the time this comes out, the Astros are no-hitting the Rangers through 7.
Wow. That's crazy because the first inning, like it looked like it was going to get out of control. I think Imai walked 2 and was down 3-0 to a guy. So, all right, well, we'll see what happens when we post this in the morning, if it's a no-hitter or not. But yeah, I mean, speaking of the Astros, man, it seems like they're maybe starting to turn things around a little bit. Christian Walker's hitting, pitching's been a lot better in May. So we'll see which way they go from there. But anyways, that's all I got. Like I mentioned, if you enjoy the show, be sure to leave us a review, drop some stars. We really appreciate seeing the feedback. But as always, appreciate you listening to the episode and look forward to having you back for our next episode of the AstrosFuture podcast covering your Astros in the minor league system.